like Cher, I wish I could turn back time, but I can't. But I'm going to give you a couple things that I wish I knew when I started my career.
Next Level Coaching.
Hey, I'm Jim Kelly with Next Level Coaching, and I'm here to bring your career to the next level. While you're here, gently hit the like button, gently hit the subscribe button. We wouldn't want to hurt your phone, but we would like to grow the channel, grow the community, let more people get good information that might help them out. So today, I'm going to turn back time a little bit, back to when I was fresh in my career. It's hard to believe I was ever fresh in my career, but it did happen at some point, and I had these wonderful ideals of how work was going to be, and it was going to be an amazing thing, and I was going to be CEO in 3 months. Obviously, that didn't happen. That's not how life works. So, I'm going to give you some advice I wish that I had back when I started. So hopefully it can help you out instead as you are either beginning or near the beginning of your work journey, or this might be some information that you just never thought about in this context, and as you're deep in your career, and maybe you can pass it on to somebody else who is new in their career, and you can look back and go, I thought that too. That can happen too. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first piece of advice I would like people to know is this is not the only job you are ever going to have. Okay? 99% of people have multiple jobs throughout the course of their career. Now, this does not mean this is not the only firm you're going to work with, because you might work for the same firm and just bounce from job to job to job to job. That is completely possible, but it is highly unlikely that if you start working at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever you start working at, all right, it's highly unlikely you're going to be doing the exact same thing the rest of your life. You are likely to change roles, change duties, change responsibilities, change teams, all right? You are likely to pivot from one job to the next. I always assumed that, I would just grow in that particular role and, that would be it. I would just do that forever. And that's definitely not the case. You are going to have to look for different roles. You are going to have to figure out what you like in work and what you don't. All right. These are things that are going to happen naturally over time. And unfortunately, with how a lot of companies work, where they aren't giving you actual raises, they're giving you increases that keep you even with inflation, you can't get ahead staying in the same job. You have to, unfortunately, shop your experience around. It's a terrible thing. I'd love to tell people, hey, stay right where you are. It's going to work out great for you. Every firm is great, and you're going to be getting ahead every single year. That's not the case. So you have to keep your eye out. You have to keep focus on your career, not on your what's best for that company, not what's best for your team. You have to be a little selfish about it. You are the CEO of your career. You are guiding the ship, no one else. You can learn just as much in a bad job with bad management as you can in a good job with good management, because you are learning what you don't like. You are learning what not to do. Those are very, very important lessons. Now, am I saying go out and get yourself a bad job? No, I do not want you to get yourself a bad job. I do not want you to have to deal with a bad manager. I want only the best for you. I want you to get your dream job. I want you to grow into, management roles and further up the hierarchy in the company, because you have a great mentor above you. But that's not always going to be the case. So when you do land in bad situations, or your manager changes roles and they bring somebody else in and they have no clue what they're doing, and it becomes very obvious, you can take a step back and learn from that experience. Learn what not to do. learn what you should be doing because of that. So this person came in and did X, Y, Z. Maybe I should do C, D, E. All right. You can learn so much from this. And, it is not a bad idea to, take notes, write a journal, compile these things that you pick up along the way. I'm not going to tell you to go write in your diary every night. That's not who I am. But you should be taking notes across your career, both of your successes, your failures, so you can learn from them, and what you notice are successes or failures from others, so that you can learn from them as well. All right. The more you learn, the more you have that knowledge base, and quite frankly, the more you're worth. Now, this one's one of the hardest lessons to learn, but it's one of the most important. Your work colleagues are not your friends. Generally, there are exceptions to this rule, but for the most part, the people you work with are just that. They are your work colleagues. They're going to be there to share, in what's going on with your work life. You should not overly divulge things about your personal life to them, because it can come back and bite you in the behind, and nobody wants that. All right. So it's okay to hold, work colleagues at arm's length to a point. You want to be friendly, congenial with them, but you aren't becoming best friends. And there are going to be some people who are going to worm their way into your heart. It even happens to a curmudgeon like me. So, it does happen. But know that is few and far between. And it is more likely that, you're going to be just work, colleagues with them. And do not stay in a role longer because of the people you work with. If they are truly your friends, you are going to stay friends with them after you switch roles. I still have people I worked with, 10, 15 years ago, I reach out to on a semi-regular basis just to say hi, see how they're doing. All right? If they're actually your friend, you're going to continue to be friends. So don't hold yourself back because of the relationships you have at work. Work-life balance is different for everyone. And it is different for you at different stages of your life. There are going to be times where working 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours even, isn't going to feel like a lot of hours to you. And you're going to feel like no big deal. But there's going to be points in your life where an 80-hour week is soul crushing. There's going to be points in your life where, even working 40 seems like a lot. Okay? You're going to have colleagues who are going to be on 24/7 doing their job. And you're going to look at them and go, that's crazy. What about work-life balance? Work-life balance is different for everyone. Some people work to escape. They don't want to deal with their actual life, so they're working. There's bad things happening in their life that they, are trying to take their minds off of. Or they just have that ambition, baby, and they're trying to drive as hard as they can. Either way, that is, something you can't control, is how other people view work-life balance. And, especially for people who are in overtime eligible positions, sometimes they just want the money. So they're going to work more. It's as simple as that. Okay? And if you're on commission, it's tough to say, I don't want to go make that extra sale, because that extra sale is a lot more money in your pocket. So, you have to keep that in mind too. So work-life balance looks different for everyone and at different times in your life. Keep that in mind, because, somebody else might think that your work-life balance is out of whack at some point. This one is the hardest truth that I personally had to swallow, And that is, it is not your manager's job to guide your career. It is your job. You have to do it. Going into the workplace, I always assumed that my manager was going to be like, okay, here's your promotion, here's your promotion, here's your promotion, as we go along. And, I didn't have to, actively say what I wanted. They were just going to know, I'm working this hard, so I want to get ahead. That's not the case. They can't read your mind. The first time I got, looked over for a promotion, because my manager moved up and they brought somebody in from outside the firm, I was like, huh? They just promote me. I was, already doing X, Y, Z. But, it was a tough pill to swallow. I didn't look at the job openings within the firm to see that my manager's role was open. So I never even got interviewed for the role when I clearly could have done it. And that was my mistake. That was my mistake for not knowing corporate America, not knowing how it worked. I just assumed, which is always a terrible thing to do, that I would be handpicked and, promoted because I was awesome. And, I still ended up doing 90% of that job, but, I learned a lesson of, one, not doing the job for somebody else because they don't know how to, and two, looking out for myself and make sure I'm always looking at those openings when I'm eligible. Looking within your corporate directory to see, this role's open, this role's open, this role's open, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be applying for them all. It just means you're keeping your options open and seeing if anything looks interesting. That there's nothing wrong with taking 5-10 minutes to do that every week, because the perfect role for you might open up and you can, apply for it. Now, you should also be working on your networking to make sure you have connections in that department to, one, tell you that a role is going to get posted, and two, make sure the hiring manager actually looks at you when you apply. But it is not anyone else's job to guide your career other than yourself. You are the CEO of your career. So act like it. Know what you like doing, figure that out, and move along the way with it. That is the only way to truly advance your career. So there it is. There's 5 tips I wish I had known when I started my career. Now, there's about a bajillion other things I wish I knew, but if I did that, I would have a very, very, very long video. And I don't want to edit a very, very, very long video today, so I'm going to keep it to 5. But, there's always more things that I wish I knew, and there's always things I'm still learning I wish I knew along the way. All right? There's always things everyone's learning. That is a wonderful thing about the world. We are all constantly learning. And if you are not learning, you're starting to fade, and that's not good. So get on that learning tree. All right? But number one, if there's things that you think that people should know, sound off on them in the comment. Let other people know. And, maybe at some point I'll compile those and make another video. And, of course, I could always make another video with just things that I think people should know. But, I digress. But if you stuck around this long, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you soon.